Hey, Rachel.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. I made you a co-host, so
Oh, okay. What does that mean?
so that you can like mute and unmute yourself because I think we set it up
Oh, okay.
and block everyone's video when they come
Right.
on to avoid the Zoom bombing.
Yeah, definitely don't want to experience that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a password on our the bingo thing for the same reason, to make sure
Yeah.
we just get the right people in there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And the only people that are getting into the bingo are the people who received an email with the
Yeah.
link.
For yours, because it's like a buy-in, it's not, the password's not like public, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
Right. Right.
So see, Nadine is here.
Yeah, that's good. And your title is the Newark Public Library LGBT
Oh,
liaison.
yeah, the LGBT liaison.
Okay, so I want to make sure I introduce everybody properly.
Or you can just say LGBT outreach librarian.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm like, they use weird words. At least now I know how to spell liaison really well.
I know, right? Because it is tricky, that extra I.
Yeah. Liaison.
I've been on this computer all day.
I know. I've been doing stuff since 10:30. I'm so tired.
I know. I'm ready
like,
for. I'm so ready for a pina colada and a nap. That's what I want right now. I still don't understand why my image moves like that. It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's because of the background. Like it makes it kind of like a fake green screen. So it's like
Right. Yeah.
my friend had one there was like a bird or something and it looked weird because it would like sometimes it would disappear.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna buy a green screen and put it up behind me and see if that helps. This is better though. I mean, I had to go out and buy a different computer because the one we had, the Intel processor, was a Core 3, and we needed at least 5 and up in order for you to put backdrops.
Hi.
Behind you. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm having an issue with my microphone. I'm just going to tell my husband to come up.
Okay.
A tech guy.
There you go. They come in handy.
Let's see why this isn't picking up.
Now, Nadine, I just want to make sure I say your last name right. It's Haruni?
Haruni, yep.
Haruni.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Let me see if I can.
And Rachel, you're going to play the video after we do the introductions,
Yeah,
right?
I figured out how to do that, so.
Okay.
Just figured it out. Okay. Never mind. I don't need him. Who needs men? Should I, I was thinking actually, so who's going to be starting the video? Rachel, you're going to be starting the video?
Yeah.
Okay, because what I was thinking I could do is like tell everybody, to let out a loud rabbit ribbit, and then Rachel will start the video.
Okay. Sounds good.
Get them in the mood.
So I'll introduce you, and then you can talk a little bit about yourself, and then you can lead us into the video.
Okay, great. Did anybody ask questions in advance?
I'm going to check that out now. Trying to set up all my stuff.
Oh, that's my mother. I just noticed. I see there it says Freeda's iPad.
Oh. Always good to have mom.
Yeah, that's the other Freeda.
Okay.
I told my mom about it. Maybe she'll come too, hopefully.
Oh, that'd be nice.
My grandkids are supposed to come on.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them.
Are you going to mute everybody's microphones other than
Yes.
those of us are speaking? Okay.
Yeah, so once I saw you logged in, I made you a co-host. Or did I unmute it? I thought I made you a co-host.
I think you did. I thought you did.
Oh, there it goes. So yeah, when everyone logs in, it like automatically mutes and takes away the video.
Okay, cool.
And like, I guess I can choose to undo it if I want.
Okay, cool.
That's the recommendations.
Okay. Yeah, and I have the list of questions here in case we don't get any questions in the chat or whatever. I have the list.
All right, cool.
Just
Well,
go down.
hopefully it'll be more than the 5 of us.
I think so.
Hello, froggy friend.
We still have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Rachel, that's you sharing your screen.
What is coming up?
I see Freeda the Frog, the book cover, and Nadine.
Okay,
That's
cool.
like
Yeah.
that's the video, right?
Yeah, so I'm just, because right now I'm working off a laptop and a giant screen, so this makes it easier. So
Okay.
it's coming up, so I was just sharing the screen to test it out. And now I will stop screen sharing. So that'll work. So now I just have it pulled up fully
Okay.
when we need it. Because I figured it out on my Chromebook earlier today, but I'm still using like the big desktop setup.
Oh, okay. Because I know the Chromebook was giving you a little trouble.
Yeah, I didn't get it at first, but it was because I had to only have the screen, like I couldn't touch anything else. I just had to have the screen up, but then I couldn't see the Zoom. But I figured out, I tested it with my phone and my computer at the same time, like, and it worked out.
Oops. I'm going to raise Freeda up a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Freeda.
So she could see everybody.
Now, who actually made Freeda?
I have, if she's here tonight, I have a friend, Shari, who, when I did the first book, she had it made. Because ultimately down the road, I want to do like Freeda plush dolls and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the only one. And poor Freeda is like a little tattered. Her glasses have been pulled off by kids, you know?
Yeah.
Better days. Hi. Oh, there's Ricky. My friend Ricky is on the line, I see there.
Cool.
So I sent this to a friend of mine in Denver,
Okay.
and I was hoping he was going to come on with his kids.
Yeah,
And
I sent it to all my friends.
He was going to tell like his people,
Okay.
but
I guess
I
we'll
don't see. He's definitely not on yet. So I might end up going off. I was hoping to come on because he'd come on with the kids.
see. Okay.
So, Rachel, you're recording this, right?
Yeah, it's being recorded now, like automatically. And then I'm gonna,
Okay.
once we start, I'll put it on the Facebook Live.
Oh, okay.
And then that's also saved as well.
Oh, there's my daughter and my grandkids. Here they come.
Great.
Yay.
Hey, Vita. We're the kids.
They're right here. Hang on.
Hi.
So here's Demetrius. There he is.
Demetrius, get off the couch. Oh, he's gonna
Where's
watch
that?
lying down.
Yeah, let me get Darius and Vivian. Hang on, I gotta get them to come down here. Darius! Darius!
She looks a lot like you, minus the pink hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like,
Exactly.
you can tell that's your
Hair.
daughter.
You look
Come
just
on, come downstairs.
My flower child right there.
Yes. I'm the hippie. You gotta come downstairs. We're attending an event with Grammy B on Zoom. Girl, don't back here. Okay. So she's playing Minecraft right now. These kids in their video
Okay, they
games.
have to stop Minecraft because I said so.
I know, they know. So, they are aware.
I'm pulling the grandmother card, okay?
Yeah, come on, Viv.
All right, so I guess you want to get started soon?
Well, people are
Give it a
coming
couple
in,
minutes.
so yeah, let's wait maybe another minute or
Oh
two.
yeah, it's 7:31, so
Yeah, maybe we'll start at 7:35 because people are
Yeah.
still in.
Okay, let me get everybody. There we go. All right, everybody. There we go. Sit down here. They're gonna start in a minute. Okay. And you want to put Minecraft? Okay.
I see Demetrius moving under the covers. He's a teenager. All he wants to do is sleep and play video games.
Boy, he has some nocturnal.
Sleep, eat, and play video games. That's his life.
He's nocturnal.
Oh, he sleeps all day and stays up all
All
night?
day long. You would think he worked a night job, okay? He sleeps all day long.
I miss those days. I'm not capable of sleeping past like 8 a.m. So
Me either. Can't do it either.
Yeah,
So
I'm more like 4 or 5.
oof.
yeah, like usually by 6 o'clock I'm up. So and even 6 is like, oh wow, I slept till 6. Like that's a lot, you know. But these, you know,
Okay,
I'll
where
leave-
are the other two?
this one's right here. She don't like being on camera. So
Vivian.
Here, Grammy B wants to see you though. At least let Grammy B
Yes,
see
I
you.
do. Vivian, stick your face in the camera for a minute.
Or your hand. See, she right there.
Vivian. Hi. You don't see me.
Turn around, say hi to Grammy. Vivian, turn around, say hi to. She don't like being on camera.
Where's Darius?
Darius is right here. Darius, come here. He's right here. You see him back
Oh,
there?
I see him now. I see him on the back of the couch. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
Hi, Darius.
No, you.
All right, so we have one more minute, I guess, and we'll get started.
Okay.
Well, there's a little person.
Yeah. Need to pluck my chin, okay? My goatee's growing in.
Mute.
I know
your
they won't wax
microphone.
anything under the mask though.
All right. My son thought it was,
Rafi, let me see.
what?
Hi, Etty.
pointed my beard out.
Hi, Etty. Hi, Rafi. Hi, you can unmute for a second. Hi, Etty.
Etty doesn't like to talk, but she's happy just to watch.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Where's BB?
Oh, there's the cat. Hello, cat.
There's cat, there's dog, and there's
And the
a little
frog.
boy somewhere too. Yay!
Ricky, is that your family? Your friends?
A good friend of mine in Denver.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
All right, so it's 7:35, so I guess we can get started. So I'd like to welcome everybody to our virtual event. It is Newark Pride this week. Happy Pride. Newark Pride 2020, I think it's their 15th year. And so tonight we're bringing to you a discussion with the author of the wonderful book called Freeda the Frog and the Two Mommas Next Door. And so this book is written, it's one of a part of a series of books, and it's really written to give children something that they can relate to in terms of the complexity of our modern families nowadays. Families look different, they're constructed differently, and this gives kids a chance to relate to that and understand that. And so I get the pleasure of introducing to you the fabulous author of the Freeda the Frog series of books, Miss Nadine Haruni.
Thank you, Beatrice. So first of all, I want to thank you and Rachel for organizing this event. Newark LGBTQ Center and Newark Public Library does so many great things for so many people. So just let's give a big ribbit for them. So thank you all for coming today. So we're going to be reading Freeda the Frog and the Two Mommas Next Door shortly. This book was made in time for Pride Month to remind kids that parenting and families come in many different forms, and that all you need is love. So that's the theme of this book. It's geared for LGBTQ plus families, but it's also just geared for all families and all kids because we think this is a really important message. And without further ado, when we hear a big ribbit from you all at home, we're gonna get started and show the story. So ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ribbit.
Ribbit.
Okay, very good. Hello, Froggy friends. I'm Nadine Haruni, the author of the Freeda the Frog children's book series. And this lovely lady sitting right next to me, straight off the Newark Frog is the one and only Freeda the Frog. Thank you for joining us today for our virtual story time. Today I'm going to be reading the 5th book from our series, Freeda the Frog and the Two Mommas Next Door. In the first 4 books, we meet Freeda and her family and follow them on lots of different adventures. We found out that just like no two people look the same, no two frogs or their families look the same. In this book, we're going to meet a new tadpole friend next door named Jessica, who has 2 moms. We think this is pretty frog-tastic. Now, before we get started, let's practice your first words in frog talk. Repeat after me. Ribbit, ribbit. In frog talk, this means woohoo! Let me hear you say it all together now. Woohoo! Good job.
Woo!
So when you hear say these words at home, I want you to feel free to shout it out loud and proud so that Freeda and I can try to hear you. What's that, Freeda? Okay. Freeda wants to get things started. Now, who wants to hear Freeda the Frog and the Two Mommas Next Door? Raise your hand. So here we go. You can follow along and read with us if you have the book with you, or just look at the screen behind you. Freeda the Frog and the Two Mommas Next Door. Franny, Frank, and Jack had a really great first year at their new school in Fort Frogafly and made a lot of nice friends. Aside from Kyle, Emerson, and Maxine, they also started hanging out with the new students. Jessica had just moved from a different pond and invited her new friends over after school one day. When they swam into Jessica's lily pad home, Jessica gave her mom Irene a kiss hello and said, "Hey Mom, I want you to meet my new tadpole squad." All said a big hi to our mates, then made them an after-school snack of mosquito macaroons and dragonfly lollipops. That sounds good. After eating their goodies, they decided it was time to play a game of tag, followed by a competition to see who could catch the biggest fly. They went back inside. Jessica called out, "Hi, Mama," to another woman standing beside her. Jessica turned back to her friends and said, "Hey guys, I want to introduce you to my mama, Morgan." Group all said another big hi to Morgan, who greeted the group formally before she left to run to the errand. Morgan gave Irene a kiss goodbye on the way out. The tadpoles looked at each other confused while Jessica waved goodbye to Morgan. "So you have 2 moms?" asked Franny. "Yes," replied Jessica. "Where's your dad?" Emerson asked. "No dad, just 2 mamas," Jessica answered. confused. He never met anyone with two moms before. He turned to Jessica and said, "Your parents are two moms? That's so weird." Franny nudged her brother and said, "Frank, that's so rude." Jessica said, "That's okay. Yes, I have two parents, just like you do. Except I have two moms, not a mom and a dad." And Cole went back to play games. Soon the friends left. Jessica fully had to go to their own dad's dinner. Frida and Samson sat at the table at dinner and asked them about their day. "It was great. After school, we hung out at our new friend Jessica's house and met her two mamas," said Frank. "That's so nice," Frida remarked. Jackass? It's not wrong at all, just different than our families. And parents are parents. Isn't it nice that not every family looks the same? "That's true," said Frank. "But do two mamas love each other the same way a mommy and a daddy do?" "You know how I love Samson," Frida continued. "That's what Jessica's moms feel about each other. Love is love. No two families look alike. For example, some tadpoles have just one mommy, some have just one daddy, some have step-parents, some tadpoles have two parents that are a mommy and a daddy, and some tadpoles may have two parents that are either two mamas or two daddies. There are lots of different types of parents and families." "I think that's pretty cool," said Frank. "Do you think we could invite their family over for dinner on Friday night?" he asked. "Sure," Frida said. "I think that's a great idea." With that, the three tadpoles hopped up and high-fived one another, and what do you guys think they said? That's right, they gave out a loud ribbit, ribbit, which is from
Ribbit, ribbit.
Ribbit, ribbit.
That's right,
Ribbit,
woo-hoo!
ribbit. Woo-hoo! Woo!
Ribbit, ribbit.
And then Orville, the tadpoles practically knocked each other over with excitement as they raced each other to grab the door first. "Hi, come on in, Franny," said the Jessica as they came into the doorway. Frida and Samson then introduced themselves and said, "Welcome to our home." "My, what a lovely lily pad you have," said Morgan. "Here, we made you this for dessert." And with that, Morgan handed Frida a lovely blueberry fly pie. It was still warm and the scent filled the air. "Ooh, this looks delicious. Thank you so much," said Frida. "Can I offer you some fly water?" "That would be lovely," answered Irene. "Let's all sit down to eat before the food gets cold. There's nothing worse than cold frog-like soup," Samson said with a chuckle. The two families sat down to eat and they talked and talked and talked the night away, and a fantastic time was had by all. When Frida brought out the delicious fly pie for dessert, everyone started to dig in. Suddenly, Frank looked up from his plate and said, "Irene, I have a question. At school, Zoe's dad always does the baking. Who does it in your family if there's no dad?" Irene smiled and put her fork down. "Well, Morgan and I both love to bake," she laughed. "That's how we got this delicious fly pie after all." When the dishes were cleared, the family slammed their guests to the door. "Thank you so much for having us over," said Morgan. "We totally enjoyed ourselves and look forward to doing this again soon." "Pleasure was all ours," said Frida. "We really enjoyed meeting other nice families like yours and are so glad that the kids introduced us." Jessica and the two mamas waved goodbye as they hopped away back to their lily pad. After they left, Jack gave a grateful ribbit ribbit to his parents for having their new friends over. "They love each other, just like our family does. You were right, Mom. All you need is love," said Frank. "Yes, indeed," agreed Frida. The end. Hope you guys enjoyed this book and see that parents and families do not have to all look the same, and that all you need is love. Guess what? At the end of our books, we have coloring pages, we have bookmarks, and even a flat Frida. Take Frida along with you on all of your family adventures. We also have some discussion questions at the end to keep the conversation going with your parents, your teachers, and your friends. Be sure to check out our @Freeda the Frog Facebook and Instagram pages and the events page on Freeda's website for the date and time of our next virtual storytime. Okay, tadpoles, that's it for now. Until next time, you know it. Ribbit, ribbit.
Woohoo!
Ribbit, ribbit.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Say that.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Ribbit.
Okay, they're bad. Let's go eat munchkins.
I'm free.
Okay, now we are
Say
back
ribbit, ribbit.
together. Ribbit, ribbit.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Say ribbit, ribbit, kids. Ribbit,
Ribbit,
ribbit.
ribbit. We did. Ribbit, ribbit. Say ribbit.
Before we get into our question and answer period, I did want to acknowledge our technology person there, Rachel Paulus, who is the LGBT outreach liaison for the Newark Public Library. And Rachel is doing the Zoom hosting this evening and doing her technical best to keep us all connected. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
So before I start my Q&A, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask the author? If so, you can just drop them in the chat and we will pose those questions. And so my first question is, tell me how Freeda came to be. How did you come up with the concept of Freeda the Frog and these series of books dealing with different issues related to, you know, children and society and how families are formed, etc.?
So, well, first of all, Freeda came to be is named after, you guys may see it says Freeda's iPad. That's the original Freeda, which is my mom. So that's who this Freeda is named after. And they look nothing alike, just to clarify. But that Freeda, I promised Freeda I'm going to make her name a household name. But we spell it this way, F-R-E-E-D-A, our Freeda, because it's meant to be synonymous with being free, for kids to feel free to express their feelings and free to be themselves. And Freeda and the books are meant really to be not only great stories for the kids, but tools to help open up a conversation for parents to sometimes have either awkward conversations or just delve into things they don't know how to bring up, and to help kids become more comfortable with things that are not only in their world, but that they see outside of them. So I personally went through all of the situations that Freeda and her family goes through in their books. And I felt that if these were things that me and my family were going through, they were probably things that other families were going through. And I didn't know how to bring up these topics with my own kids. So I wanted to write something that would help make it a little bit easier in a fun-loving way for parents to have conversations with the kids. So I'm going to just show the covers. There's more information on my website, but so in the first book, we meet Freeda and her family. Freeda and the Frog gets a divorce, and I wrote this book when I myself went through a divorce, and she helps the kids realize that even though mommy and daddy are living in separate homes, they still love them and love each other, and that they're still a family. And then Freeda meets a blue frog. So this book, Freeda the Frog and her new blue family, I met my own blue frog. He's not really blue, but, and it's celebrating not just blended families of all types, but just diversity, mixed race, religion, ethnicity, that not everybody's the same. And then me and my kids moved. We left the city, and they didn't really want to leave the city. We moved to the suburbs, and that was a little bit of a difficult topic. So Freeda the Frog is on the Move was born from that, helping kids deal with any kind of major life change or any kind of move or transition or changing schools or anything like that, which is something we went through. And then I wrote Freeda the Frog Says Farewell to Her Fish, which was when my grandma Helen died, and my kids were close with her as well. It was the first time they ever encountered losing somebody that they loved. And that was also kind of a tough conversation to have. So I felt this was important to get out there. And whether it's a pet fish, or a family member or friend, it's just a tough conversation and a tough concept for kids to deal with. And our latest one, Freeda the Frog and the Two Mommas Next Door. I know it was hard for a lot of you to hear it, and we have a Freeda the Frog YouTube page, and I'm putting the video on there so you guys can hear the story there. But this book is just celebrating love in its many different forms, and that parenting and families don't always have a mommy and a daddy. It could be two mommies, it could be two daddies, it could be a single parent, like Freeda was saying. And I just felt this was a really important book to get out there, especially for Pride Month. So.
Okay. We have a question from John. Does Freeda the Frog help children under trans specialism?
I'm sorry, does Freeda the Frog help what?
Children understand trans specialism.
Not necessarily that. The new book, Freeda the Frog of the Two Mommas Next Door, is just celebrating, generally speaking, love, and in its many different forms. So it's not specifically addressing that or specifically addressing any particular niche. It's just celebrating the LGBTQ plus community as a whole.
Thank you. My next question is, how can Freeda the Frog Says Farewell to Her Fish, which is one of your book titles, help children mourning the loss of not just a pet, but also a grandparent or a parent, sibling, or another loved one?
So this book, all of the books try to broach these topics, even if they're difficult topics or issues like this one, losing a pet fish, in a sort of, I don't want to say fun-loving way, because obviously death is not a fun topic, but just to not make it such a scary concept for kids. And just remind kids that it's really important to talk about their feelings with parents, with teachers, with friends, to just let out how they're feeling. And also to just try to remind them to remember the good times they had with that pet or that person.
Okay. Your series tackles some heavy subjects. Why did you choose to create picture books for toddlers and preschoolers instead of chapter books for middle grade readers?
Good question. So I felt it was important because, I mean, the books, I feel kids when they're younger are their formative years, and they really are trying to figure out who they are and figure out their feelings. And I didn't see a lot of picture books out there, and that's what inspired me to make this into a series, which, and the books they're meant to be appealing to little kids because of the bright colors and stuff and the pictures, but also older kids. I've had even some teenage kids write to me that the books help them because it's a little more of a sophisticated message. So I felt it was really important for younger kids to kind of be able to feel free to express themselves, and parents to have a way to, in a non-threatening way, open up these conversations. With older kids, they might be a little more closed off and stuff already. So I just wanted to encourage kids while they're young to be a little more, feel comfortable to open up how they feel and talk to their parents.
So I'm interested in how the illustration part of creating a book occurs. And so could you tell us something about the illustrator and how Freeda came to be Freeda?
Sure. So the illustrator came through the publisher, and I had an idea of what I wanted Freeda to look like. I visioned the funky glasses, and she has here a cute crossbody pocketbook and her lipstick and her birthmark. So I kind of had my own idea of what I wanted Freeda to look like. And I sort of auditioned, I think it was 4 or 5 different illustrators who came up with their idea. And the Tina Modugno, who did the illustrations for our Freeda, I mean, hands down, it was the clear choice. She did exactly what I wanted. She made Freeda sort of a happy character, kind of appear fun and sort of like a hip mom. Some of the other illustrations were a little scary, literally scary. Like my son said that he might have nightmares over one of them. Another one looked like a grandma. So there just was really there was no contest with the illustrator, Tina.
So when they did the different illustrations, you actually tested them out on different people to see what their reactions would be to the character? We
did that too, yeah. And Freeda evolved kind of into what she is today. And then when you write the stories, you kind of, with the illustrator, you work hand in hand to kind of figure out what exactly is going to be happening on each page. So I give my ideas. Once I pick Tina, then for all of the books, I give my ideas as to what I want happening on the page, and then she'll try to play that out, and then we tweak it a little bit to kind of have the picture try to go along with whatever's happening in the story.
Okay, great. Can older kids relate to Freeda?
I think so. I mean, it's there are some books, like some Dr. Seuss books and other authors, let's say, which they're written for children, but I think they're appealing to older kids and adults. I think some of these books, I hope some of these books are appealing to older kids and adults as well. And I say that just because, again, even though they're children's books and they're picture books, I'm not talking about things just like the alphabet or some sort of simple things. We're talking about some more complicated conversations. So I think it kind of can span the ages.
Okay. What other topics do you plan to address in the future? What is in Freeda's future?
Well, we're trying to do about one book a year or so. And by the time I'm done, I mean, I'm not going to be able to obviously cover every single situation or every type of family out there. I'm trying to cover most situations so that by the time I'm done, every family can either relate on a personal level to whatever that particular topic is, or at the very least would have friends that were going through that particular situation, or friends that had a family that looked like that. So some of the future topics we're going to write about are adoption, having a disability, having a major illness, and I might kind of tie that into, I might sooner than later do something related to what's going on right now with kids and COVID and not being able to see people. This was a very obviously unique situation, what's going on. So also planning to write something about for a parent going back to work, how kids adapt to that, and having a new baby sibling. So those are some of the topics coming down the pike.
I would think that this would be a very good tool for teachers and educators and people who are working with children, especially children going through different changes in their family. Is the book used in that way? Can it be used in that way?
It is actually. So on my freedafrog.com website, I have a educators tab, and all of the books have been leveled for the schools to align to national standards. They have been used in the schools. I've had teachers write to me and school psychologists write to me that they use the books. Some of them have used the books as a tool to address a particular kid one-on-one, and some of them have used the books to read to the class so that other kids, can learn about things they may not be aware of.
So Harry, who's on his iPhone, has left a message in the chat that says, "I love the message and my daughter loves Freeda." Harry, would you like to say something about
Thank
Freeda?
you.
We can unmute you.
That's great.
He's not typing anything, so I just wanted to get that comment in there.
Thank you, Harry. We appreciate it, and thank you for the support.
Would you like to see Freeda and her tadpoles live beyond your books, perhaps in an animated television series?
I very much would like that. If you look on my Freeda the Frog, it's F-R-E-E-D-A the Frog, just YouTube channel, you'll see we have a couple of animated trailers. We made one for the new book, and we made one for the series recently. They're about a minute long, and that will kind of give you a glimpse as to what the eventual Freeda cartoon will look like.
Okay. Well, I would definitely watch Freeda.
Great.
I'm a big kid, so I still watch cartoons. And I'm sure I'm not the only one here that still watches cartoons.
Never too old.
No.
I would totally watch.
Awesome. That's great.
Would you tell us about the influence of your mother, Freeda, on your book as a writer of children's books? The original Freeda.
The original Freeda. There she, okay. The squares are moving around over here. So she inspired actually the very first book, which was Freeda the Frog Gets a Divorce, because and actually kind of going to the point of what you said before, I was in my 20s when my parents had gotten divorced. And even though I was a grown up and not a little kid, it was still obviously, a difficult thing to deal with. And I had the very first draft, which I didn't actually publish until 2016, but the very first draft was written many years earlier in 1998 when my mom, Freeda, was going through a divorce. And I took a course in a college in New York City writing and illustrating children's books. And we wrote a book from start to finish. And I wrote that to kind of cheer her up and cheer myself up, the story. So that's how the first one came to be. And then the later ones, I mean, my mom's always been my biggest supporter, my biggest fan. So she's still involved in the other books because of that.
I think it's interesting that you said it was written so long ago, and now you're just, coming out with these books some years later. I think for those of us who think that we have a book in us, a lot of times I think people think books happen, quickly, but oftentimes it can take years for you to actually, get to the point of putting it out there and taking that chance. Tell us about that experience of how you felt in daring to do that.
That's very true what you just said on that point. The first book was many, many years in the making. I kind of felt I had to get these books out when I went through my divorce, and I felt that there was not a lot of books out there that were written on a child's level, that weren't scary, that kind of explained the subject, and just sort of felt there was a need or a niche in the market for books like this that kind of in a friendly, upbeat way sort of talked about these things, and didn't make these subjects taboo. I mean, they shouldn't be, and some people feel uncomfortable bringing them up, or some kids don't understand what it means. So I just wanted to put these things out there to just talk about it. So I felt it was really important. I felt there was a need for books like this to get them out there. I actually have another occupation, which I can't wait to say that I used to be an attorney, but I'm still an attorney aside from a children's book author. But my two passions were always writing and teaching yoga. And I started teaching yoga, children's yoga, and then restorative yoga. And I still teach restorative yoga because that was something I knew would be tough to make a living out of, but I just love it. And my other passion was always writing. And I felt that, not to sound corny, but writing these books is kind of what I was meant to do and what I need to do to get out there. So this is just now going to become more and more of a full-time occupation for me.
Well, that's it's good to know your purpose and to, believe in it and try it until it happens. And so
Right.
we have Freeda, thanks to you. Denise has a comment that she says, I hope you consider having Freeda meet a friend who is trans or non-binary. I don't think that is a topic that is often covered much for children.
That's definitely something that's in the array of possible topics. So good suggestion. Thank you.
There's also a comment in here from Taylor. I got bullied at school for having this book, but I still will spread the message of gay acceptance to all of my classmates.
Oh.
Much love from Iraq. So we have an international person on our Zoom meeting tonight. That's wonderful.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to hear about the bullying part. That obviously is awful. That's the way a lot of kids are, I think, that don't understand things and don't accept things. But good for you for sticking up for what you believe in. And I'm thanking you so much for trying to help me get the message out there with Freeda. So thank you.
Do we see yoga in Freeda's future? A book about
yoga?
Freeda and yoga? You can bring your writing and your yoga together in one project?
Possibly. That might happen.
Yes, well, yoga is often a good point of self-care and for your physical, mental, and spiritual health. So I think that would be a nice topic to introduce to children as well, finding peace and tranquility.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, there are no more questions in the chat box. Does anybody else have any comments? Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening.
Demetrius has a question.
Yes, please pose the question.
I was wondering what motivated you to make the books.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say that one more time.
Wondering what motivated you to make the books.
Good question. Thank you, Demetrius. What motivated me to write the books was that I wanted to help kids make these kind of topics, either kids that were in these situations or in the part of these types of families that I'm talking about, feel comfortable and understand maybe if they have questions. Also for their friends to understand things a little bit better. And my own personal experiences and what I saw my own kids going through as I went through these topics is kind of all of that put together is what motivated me.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Demetrius.
You're making your grandma proud over here.
Yes, he's making his grandmother very proud. Yes, he is. Yes, God bless them. I don't get to see them. They're in California, so I don't get to see them as often as I would like. And so having said that, if there are, where do you, oh, there's a question from Harry. Where do you see Freeda going in the future?
So Freeda will be kind of, you know, sort of hopping around like she does in different stories, different families, different things. And each story kind of picks up where the last one left off. So she'll be kind of hopping around in other adventures, meeting adopted families, meeting families with disabilities, meeting families that go through major illnesses, having a new baby brother or sister. So there'll be a lot of things she'll be looking forward to in the future.
Okay. Any more questions from our audience? Well, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to come and be introduced to Freeda in support of this author and in celebration of Newark Pride. And I really appreciate the fact that we started our week off with something that is good for the whole family, because families are important in the LGBT community, as they are in any community, but especially so in our community. And so I'd like to thank everyone for attending. And while you're here, I'd just like to mention that we have Drag Bingo coming up tomorrow evening. You can purchase tickets through Eventbrite. And on Thursday, we have another author of the book called Stay Gold, which is for our older teenagers, and also does broach the topic of non-binary, non-gender conforming teenagers and young adults, youth. And so having said that, I thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the support of being Freeda.
Thank you. That was great.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Ribbit, ribbit, and woo!
Ribbit, ribbit.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Thank you, guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.